Hot 10. Huh. Yeah, I did use that shit, bro.
All right, so good evening, good morning, and or whatever time it is, wherever you're at watching this. I'd like to welcome you guys to the At Ease podcast with myself, Esco, and James over here. I'd like to start talking about giving people thanks for all the views and the likes and all the support on the last video with our friends there, Ed and Alan. They wrote that fantastic book, and we gave them that. We did that little interview with them, and it's very informative, very cool. It's probably our highest. It is our highest viewed video to date. So, knowing that our channel's fairly small, we got a small viewership, but we're looking at trying to expand that, with y'all support. So don't forget to like, subscribe whenever you get a chance, and don't forget that we're also on Rumble. I put the videos on our Facebook page as well, and
we'll probably be expanding to more social media, Twitter.
Yeah,
the only other one.
I mean Twitter, and
YouTube, Rumble.
We can put some
Facebook,
stuff out
Twitter.
on. I'm
Instagram.
I'm yet to check out the other mediums. It's just kind of, it's hard to keep up, to upload all that stuff and then keep up with all what videos are, what they're doing and their respective platforms. Is just kind of, it's a little hard, especially when you have a full-time job. So it's kind of like,
right.
Dealing with that, kids and and the whatnot, and but all in all, I think that last video did very well.
Yep.
With this shoestring budget that we got on. Eventually we'll once we'll start getting some, if we get comparable views here stemming from this podcast or whatever, we'll open up a Patreon or something just so you guys can float a couple bucks our way or whatever. It'll help us with the production value, get better cameras, better mics, that kind of stuff. So
I don't think we're ever going to do a paywall thing. So if people want to support the channel monetarily, that's great.
People want to, that's fine.
If not,
we do it
it's still going to be available.
Yeah, we do it for fun. It's this is kind of like a little hobby or whatever that we do, try to keep you guys informed, and a good way to vent, from what's going on a day to day,
and maybe put the perspective out there of random guys. Like we're not anything special. We're blue collar workers. We have been our whole lives. So I think most of the people that would get on YouTube to just watch a couple of guys talk, they'd probably relate more to us than somebody who's been wealthy their entire lives and now has a podcast.
Right.
And
right.
They have a huge following because they have always had a huge following.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, so if anything, I could really care less if the channel makes money.
Right.
But I would definitely love to increase the production value whenever possible.
And we have a little bit.
So every now and then we'll save a little bit of money. And
we started with our cell phones.
We started with cell phones, yeah.
Now we got
cameras. We got cameras.
And a little bit of lighting.
And we had some audio issues, and we had some. We've and also this is coming from two guys that have never done video media recording whatsoever.
At all.
This is just
for anything.
Us teaching ourselves and learning on the fly, and just kind of like getting it done, a little bit at a time. And now we got guests lined up.
Trying to. Right now, you and I both, and put it out to the people out there. So we live in Central Texas. This is 2023. 2024 is when the general elections are up. So the presidential elections about probably a third of the Congress, half the Senate, something like that. Also, your sheriff's elections are up in 2024. That's when, if they're running against somebody, they're going to have to put together a campaign, and see if the people will elect them for another term. And right now, what we're trying to do is reach out to some of the local sheriffs and sheriff's candidates, and see if we can get interviews with them here on this show. So if nothing else, it probably won't get like a national thing or anything, but at least people here locally that live around us will get a better understanding of who their incumbent sheriff is and who's running against them.
Yeah, and another reason is why.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people go most of their lives of the day to day not thinking about who their sheriff is and what the impact that position has in their could potentially have in their day to day lives.
Those local elections are a lot more important to your day to day life than the national elections.
They're very impactful, and what the normal citizen fails to realize is that this is something that I learned after becoming a police officer and seeing. When local politicians and local government tramples on you, it's expensive to fight back.
Yes.
It is very expensive to fight back. A lot of people think that, we'll just sue them, we'll take them to court, and we'll talk to the media. You'd be surprised how many things have happened, not in this county specifically, but just in other jurisdictions where it just happened in a state that way. Yeah. Because it's not big enough of a bang for a news like say KWTX for lack of a better example, to go out and cover that because it cost man hours, money, gas, all this other stuff just to cover this small little thing that's only important to like a handful of people. Right. They're trying to broadcast to a much more broader audience. So these sheriff's elections are super important. Because we've had, basically the standards to run for sheriff are, you have to become, they're nil, but you have to have a working peace officer's license within the year, I think.
There you go, not to be elected.
Not to be elected,
but to be within the year. You have to have a peace officer's license. So
that opens the door for some really, really weird people.
Anybody can run.
Really weird people.
That's the thing. If people actually looked at like what are the requirements for elected office, most people would be surprised to find that they're nearly nothing. There's the requirements for presidents of the United States, the highest elected office in this land. There's one requirement. One. You have to be 35.
But I thought you had to be born here, like born in the States.
You have to be a natural born citizen.
Natural born citizen.
Which doesn't mean you have to be born in the States. Just like McCain a couple of years ago ran, he was born in Panama. So he has a birth certificate of an American citizen born abroad. Same as I do. I was born in Germany.
Oh, okay.
So I have a birth certificate that says citizen born abroad.
Same thing happened to Obama. He was born in Kenya. And
it's been a debate for years, right?
Well, whatever. He showed it. There's a birth certificate. It says Hawaii. Hey, dude, more power to him. But it's
you have to be a natural born citizen. You have to be 35 years old to run for president of the United States.
Right.
That's it.
So that's when you think about it, it's pretty. It's pretty shocking, but in the same respect, that's how it's done. So even the layman has an opportunity to have voice and.
No, that's the whole idea. That's the whole idea. If people recognize one person as having the ability and the knowledge to speak for a good majority of the people in his constituency, they're going to put him up for office, no matter what his background is. A good example would be the guy out there in Arizona. I forget what county it is.
Is that Maricopa?
I think it is Maricopa County. He's a convicted felon. Like he cannot possess a firearm, yet he is the sheriff of a county.
I don't know if it's the same one.
I don't know. Yeah, I'd have to look it up, and I really don't feel like looking it up. So I'm not gonna look it up. I don't give a shit.
Right.
But that is out there. There's a guy out there. I think he had a TV show or something. So I think it's Maricopa County. I could be wrong. Who knows? But yeah. He's convicted. He cannot legally possess a firearm, yet he is the sheriff of a county.
Yeah, it's we've reached out to several candidates and trying to get them to. So running a campaign can get expensive.
Right.
What I believe even for
a local election.
Even for a local election, it could get expensive. So my thing is that we can offer a platform where it's free of cost to them, and it could have significant ramifications on how they expand their point of views in their campaign, because they'll be able to in turn take that podcast that we do in an interview and share it on their social media accounts and push it out to their constituents and get the word out, put it on their personal channels and whatnot, and that I think that's super important for them.
I think it's important for the people to know who they're voting for.
Exactly. So I'll do that with our incumbents, and whoever. It's open to anybody.
Yeah, we don't want to say any names now.
We don't say any names, but once we get committed. Once we got some committals and people that are going in, they're for sure gonna make a go and sit down with us and chop it up. So I like to pick their brains, and just kind of figure out what they're about.
Why they're running, what they plan to do,
what makes them tick. But I really like to get that one other dude. That's yeah. that guy. Hey.
We're probably gonna do all these interviews over webcam.
Oh, dude, he lives in town. What are you talking about?
He coming in my
bro. Come on.
Inside this place.
Oh, dude, come on. He has to.
No.
This has to be live. It's that crazy. It's that crazy. He has to do it live. Yeah. I mean,
we'll see.
I mean, we'll
see.
We'll cross that bridge when we get. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. All right, that's your apprehension. That's all right. That guy.
I'm talking to him through Zoom.
That guy is thrown off though. But he's a candidate.
Is he announced? Do we know?
I don't think he's a candidate this time around.
I don't know who's announced. So,
but he was a couple years ago.
Yes.
And wow, that was eye-opening, to say the least. Super interesting to say. that was insane. But anywho, this week we've had a lot of crap going on. So before we get into the meat and potatoes of the most current news.
Oh yeah.
Of the most current.
Let's cover some other stuff first.
Let me cover some other stuff first because that other stuff is vanilla. By comparison, and by no means do I want to just kind
of dive right into that.
Talk, but by no means I don't want to underscore the fact that people died in a shitty submarine.
Right. Yeah.
Made by some guy that went woke and freaking, and his budget first, safety last, all inclusivity bullshit mindset.
Yeah.
At least he went down with the ship.
What other choice did he have? It's a submarine. Yeah.
Yeah. Get it?
Yeah. But yeah, I heard seeing something. He said he didn't want to hire 50-year-old white guys because they weren't inspirational. The ones that do what the fuck they were doing, how to build a show.
I still think it was the Pakistanis.
Did they build it?
They probably imploded it.
I know one of the passengers was a British Pakistani businessman. Oh, shut up, dude.
I'm just saying, they are pretty explodey. So, but either way, I mean, it's still, we're making light of it, and there's a couple dudes online, and a couple tactical dudes that I know that are freaking incensed at some of the dark comedy that's coming out of this. And if you're one of those guys that gets to see this, you can go fuck yourself. I don't give a shit how many weeks you did in Hell Week. Don't care how many log PTs or how many bolts you picked up over your head. If you can't take a joke, get fucked. I could really care less. It's there's a bunch of them out there, and
surprises me.
The insensitivity of this, and I get it.
I met in those communities are.
And I get it. There's a lot of dark humor, and the dark humor. To cut through the bullshit of the dark humor, it's because this guy cut so many corners.
Every corner.
He cut every corner and cut away every single person that tried to advise him against it and against doing this the wrong way. And the people that try to assist him to do this the right way and get it done in a better fashion, he pushed away, and he ended up dying himself and taking a couple innocents with him. So that's where the dark comedy comes from. Because
if you're unfamiliar with what we're talking about the Ocean Gate submarine that does tours of the Titanic. I think they had done 4 tours. Did tours of the Titanic. Excuse me. did tours of the Titanic. They had done 4 tours, I think, total. And their 5th tour, the submarine imploded with like 5 or 6 people on it, including the owner of Ocean Gate.
It's the most inclusive tour they've ever done.
It's the most realistic one.
Yeah, well, they followed everybody to the beyond.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll give you the exact... Oh, I was trying to go to oceangate.com. Apparently the website's been taken down.
Yeah, that's some dark humor for you. They're fucking running for their fucking lives. The goddamn freaking multi-billionaire freaking and his son freaking died in this thing. And if you don't think for one second that damn family's looking for some payback, you're sadly mistaken, because they're gonna take that company to freaking court. They're gonna take the wheels off. So
if there's anything left,
there's anything left after all the civil lawsuits come down from this, because
he was charging what, $250,000 a pop.
Bro, yeah, $250,000 to take you down there. Now, don't get me wrong. If you got the money to spend on something like that, that's a unique experience.
That's the thing about that. $250,000. I'm pretty sure you can find a submarine for $250,000. An actual submarine.
Bro, you guys should have got like a U something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like.
That's an easy Google search. Submarine for sale.
You know, like something that's been proven.
Submarines for sale.
Yeah, you could have bought one. I don't know. And, another thing is that he didn't want to staff his crew with 50-year-old submariners and blah blah blah. And I was like, dude, because he didn't want to end up with 50-year-old submariners that were white or whatever the hell he said.
Yeah, if you got $250,000 to go down in a touring sub, there are actual touring subs available for. If you got $250,000, you're a multi-billionaire. These things are like 1.2 million, 2.4 million.
So his quote precisely.
Flat.
His quote precisely is that when I started the business, one of the things that you'll find, there are other sub operators out there, but they typically have one gentleman. They have gentlemen who are ex-military submariners, and you'll see a whole bunch of 50-year-old white guys. That's basically his quote.
Okay.
So.
Because they're white or because they're 50? I mean,
they know
what the fuck they're doing. They have the training.
But he has the rest of eternity to ponder on that.
Right.
So it's
found a sub right here, 25,000.
Wow, look at that.
Operating depth 100 meters. I don't know how far down the Titanic is.
13,000 freaking.
Is it?
Oh yeah, bro. It's like way past 2 miles. Somebody said that it was like the equivalent of the depth of the Grand Canyon on top of the Grand Canyon.
12,500 feet.
Yeah. I think his craft was rated like not as that deep, but but whatever. I think I spoke like I got Tourette's or something. Not as that deep.
3,800 meters.
Yeah, dude, it's significant. So, they were saying they were hearing bangings and clangings and whatever, but the ocean floors, the ocean, that deep, there's all kinds of nonsense going on down there.
What? Yeah, the other part of that, though? What happened yesterday when they put the news out there that these folks are dead.
Right.
They found the wreckage and everything.
Right.
So news came out after that earlier today. The U.S. Navy heard the implosion like 3 days ago, like the day it happened.
Oh.
And they held the news because yesterday Hunter Biden's thing was going on.
You kidding me?
No. That's been all over Twitter for like the last 2 days. Like this is withholding the news like that is just a big distraction. So they're holding the submarine news because everybody was talking about this missing sub.
Right.
Well, the U.S. Navy knew it was a dead sub the day it happened, the day it went missing.
Oh no.
They heard the implosion.
Oh no.
They found the wreckage yesterday.
Right.
And then it came out that the Navy actually heard the implosion like 3 or 4 days ago.
Right. I thought that was rumor. Damn. Mm-hmm. Damn. Well, I mean, Hunter Biden, his shit is just something else. He's pleading to freaking misdemeanor charges. I don't want to get into the weeds on that.
Because it's Sweetie.
It's just, look. You know what? It don't even matter. It don't even matter. these guys, they're just gonna do what they're gonna do, and they're gonna pardon whoever they're gonna pardon.
Have been for a long time.
The reality is that one thing that people cannot prove, like, you can talk about a two-tier justice system all day, and you can talk about Justice Department being set in one way, Justice Department being set in the other way. But the thing is that it's all kind of almost predicated off as if it's the same judge proceeding over all of the cases that ever are, and it's just not realistic. Some judges, they may be bought, they may be not, but they may have a different appreciation of the severity of the crime, and some of them are not looking at the social implications of a particular conviction or not, or they're not weighing in that maybe this guy should be punished just as harshly as somebody else across the country was charged for the same thing and was punished harshly. It's different courts, different points of view, different prerogatives. I don't know. Like they're throwing out the examples of Wesley Snipes, Kodiak Black, some of these other people that got charged with the same exact crimes as Hunter Biden and did time behind bars, and then this dude is pleading, and they're saying that there's some obvious preferential treatment. Did they prove it?
Well, the proof would be taking all those other cases that other judges across the country have issued prison time for, and now this guy's not getting it for the same charge. Why isn't he getting prison time? All these other people did. Even though they are different judges in different courts and different jurisdictions, why is it the outcome the same? So that's the thing. That's the argument about the justice system. The justice system is supposed to have the equal treatment under the law, right?
Allegedly.
Allegedly, but that's what's in the Constitution. Equal treatment under the law. But that's not the case. That's not what happens. Because you got somebody like Wesley Snipes doing this shit, and he goes to prison for it. And then you got Hunter Biden doing this shit, and he pleads down to a misdemeanor.
Mm-hmm.
Is lawyers that much better? Or is the law different for him?
It begs a question, but it's very obvious what's going on. But in
my opinion, the law is different for them.
My opinion is that it is. I just don't.
The law does not apply to them the same way it applies to the rest of us. There's this one kid. I don't know if you know about this because I'm pretty sure this happened before you moved to Texas.
Mm-hmm.
You ever heard of the affluenza case?
No.
Okay. So there was this kid up in Dallas, right? Mm-hmm. Family's rich as rich can be. Don't know how many millions they got. Not sure what mommy and daddy did for a living, but this kid got drunker and shit, got in his car, drove around. He ended up killing 3 or 4, 5, 6, I don't know. I'm not going to look at the case because I'm going off of memory here. But this kid killed people by running them over, and he was drunker and shit. And he was a teenager. Went to court. Manslaughter times however many people. Yeah. No jail time, no nothing. And the defense that the defense attorney put up was that this kid is so wealthy and so spoiled that he does not know right from wrong, and therefore cannot be punished for these crimes. That was the affluenza case.
Oh.
And then a couple of years later, I think after that, he went down to Mexico because mom took him down to Mexico trying to avoid the punishment, and then he was caught breaking his probation. He was drinking, partying, stuff like that. Still nothing done to this damn kid because he's too rich. The law does not apply to them the way it applies to everybody else. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, when you got several million people who are regular workers, blue collar or lesser workers, income providers, income earners, you got millions and millions of people like that, and you've only got a couple thousand people that you can kind of let them get away with shit. The law applies to most, not to everybody.
Yeah, it sucks, man. That
But more and more, the general population is realizing that's how it is.
But the thing is, there's nothing that can be done about it. There's very little can be done about it.
That's very little that can be done about it.
There's very little can be done about it because people are screaming and jumping and screaming about it now, and nothing's changed.
Nothing will change.
The Durham report went out.
I'm not familiar with the Durham report.
Okay, well, it was a commission report that was done into the collusion and FISA court warrants It's a 306-page report related to the Trump-Russia probe.
Okay.
It basically exonerates the president of any collusion in the 2016 campaign. It also highlights all the corruption that Hillary Clinton conducted, the lies that she and her campaign, because they paid for the Steele dossier, which was one of the big bases for the FISA warrants that went into a surveillance campaign that was conducted during the Obama administration over the Trump campaign prior to 2016. They tapped his phones. They basically surveilled him like if he were
Trump.
Trump.
Yeah.
They did surveillance on him like if he were a terrorist,
Right.
and to gather evidence, and they used falsified premises behind it to secure the warrants. And it was paid with campaign money through the Clinton Foundation. It's one of the biggest corruption cases.
Sounds like Watergate.
It is insane. Unlike Watergate, nobody's going to jail for it. As a matter of fact, Trump is looking at going to jail. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's and just recently, these reports and all that, they unearthed a WhatsApp communication between Hunter Biden and some oligarch from China, demanding his payments and basically saying that he's with his dad and this and that. It was for sure.
Hunter demanding a payment from.
Yeah. Like to honor this agreement, which goes into this this committee that's been trying to push the FBI to start the investigation on Hunter Biden and the Bidens from taking bribes and money from a foreign country.
Yeah.
And guess where that's going?
Nowhere.
That's big news. The weaponization of the FBI, the politicization of the FBI, and the weaponization of other government agencies to be turned against political candidates and their citizenry. So the ATF has not taken back the pistol brace, the stabilizing brace thing. That's still an ongoing battle. Nobody will see reason on it.
So I don't understand, to what end? Why was it done in the first place?
Clearly, to stir up enough opposition to it to eliminate voting for the opposition. Because eventually a group of people is going to stand up and do some nonsense and they're going to get arrested. You know what I mean? Like it's all to demonize the right, and it's all done to demonize people and to register guns and do. I mean, it's because the only way you can own one, according to their ruling, is to register the whole thing, register your gun and the brace and everything. You know, and there's over 400,000 things out there. I don't know, million. I don't know. There's a bunch of freaking stabilizing braces out there. It's crap, man. It's crap. The whole thing is shit. And the ATF is leading the charge on that, even though they're not an elected body, but they've made rules that are now looking
enforceable
at
by law.
enforceable,
just like their laws.
Yeah, enforceable like laws, which is crazy because the House's issue with it is that they never voted on this. It's never brought onto the House floor, so how could it be law? How could we throw people in jail over that? How could people suffer penalties over it? It's not a law in the books. This is just a ruling. Well, they're leaning on some ruling that was done back in 1939, but whatever. It's shit. The whole thing is it's a whole mess, bunch of gobbledygook, and it's not looking well. But it ain't gonna go nowhere. It's all it's all noise. But and that leads us on to today.
Oh, the most recent stuff?
The most recent stuff, yeah.
So we were talking about this before we started filming.
Mm-hmm.
And it happened maybe an hour before we started filming.
Yeah, so
something like that. So right now, total, probably about 2 hours ago, Russia has issued an arrest warrant for the chief of the Wagner Group. I don't remember that guy's name, but
Yevgeny Prigozhin.
Yeah, I don't speak Russian, so
Yevgeny Prigozhin.
yeah, good enough. But they've issued an arrest warrant for the chief of the Wagner Group because apparently the Wagner Group is now either at Moscow or marching towards Moscow with 25,000 mercenaries doing a apparent coup against the Russian government.
So...
And Moscow has now issued a fortress order. So, my understanding, I'm not Russian. I don't know anybody this, so I really don't. Apparently, what that does, that calls everybody in with a gun. So, any military in the area, any police in the area, everybody to come to Moscow and fortify the city against these guys. 25,000 mercenaries marching from Ukraine to Moscow, with the intent of taking over the government.
So the mercenaries were mercenary. That's what happens.
That's what happens when you get paid to do it.
Yeah.
So the other thing, the other shoe on that, that we were discussing. If you were paying attention to political news, I don't expect y'all to, but we do, and it kind of floats across our feed. Yesterday, was it yesterday or the day before yesterday?
It was like yesterday,
I think it was
the day
yesterday.
before, yeah.
So they came out and said, the government, I don't remember which agency, but they said that there was an accounting error.
I think it was the
DOD?
The Means and whatever.
Ways and Means Committee?
Ways and Means Committee, yeah.
I don't know, I'd have to look it up, and I'm just talking. But it did happen. You can look it up yourself. But they came out and said that there was an accounting error, that the United States sent $6.2 billion extra to Ukraine. And the next day,
Pentagon accounting error provides an extra $6.2 billion.
So proxy wars being proxy wars.
So yeah, Tuesday exactly.
Okay.
The Pentagon said Tuesday that it overestimated the value of weapons that it had sent to Ukraine by $6.2 billion the past 2 years, about double early estimates, resulting in a surplus that will be used to future security packages. The Pentagon spokesman, blah blah blah, whatever shill that's going to end up in a deck of cards when this damn Civil War freaking turns upside down in America, because all these people don't realize what they're doing by supporting this tyrannical freaking disaster. I mean, what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. You should know that, but these people, man, from
money's money, baby.
Money, yeah, this is true. So
$20.
$20. What bike? So while Joe Biden over here debos the world, fucking, they mysteriously allocated $6.2 billion to Ukraine, which turned around the vanguard of the Russian military.
The Wagner Group.
The Wagner Group, which is the main assault force.
Has been their main
assault force, the vanguard of troops
since they
into
entered
Ukraine.
The war. Yeah.
It has turned around those troops against their handler.
What do mercenaries fight for?
Money.
It's not honor. It's not
national
pride.
Nope.
It's not loyalty.
Nope. Which is why U.S. contractors
what does it
are
say
not
again?
mercenaries. What?
Say it again. What do they fight for?
Money. Mercenaries fight for money, which is why when I was a contractor for Department of State, Department of Defense, other three-letter agencies, some of them that weren't sexy at all, just like I don't know, like people that feed people. We personally did it for the money as a personal thing, but we did it with our government because it was aligned with our views and our values. So we resented being called mercenaries because we didn't just flip allegiances on the side of the road. It wasn't like I was escorting a bunch of fuel trucks from Taji to Balad, and then the freaking AQI, Al-Qaeda in Iraq said, hey man, if you give us those trucks, we'll pay you more. And I was like, oh, well, that's a fantastic deal. That just didn't happen. Now, I don't care how much money they had, you were still my enemy. See what I'm saying? So that's why federal U.S. contractors resented that moniker. Oh, that all these liberals love throwing around because they've never launched a bullet in a firing range or anything. They don't know. The last person that did anything patriotic for the country was a great grandfather or a grandfather, and they've been an embarrassment to their freaking family ever since. And these liberal scumbags would just freely go, oh, well, they're mercenaries, those Blackwater mercenaries. Look, educate yourself. If you, by definition, throughout history, these guys, by no fucking stretch of the imagination, are mercenaries, like in that traditional sense. So, but Wagner Group clearly is now
mercenaries.
Clearly is. So they have turned around and assaulted Russia, which coincides with the missing 6.2 billion, which is probably the most lucrative mercenary contract that has ever been awarded for anything direct action since the fucking East India Company. You know.
So to get the most updated stuff, 30 minutes ago, Wagner chief vows to topple Russian military leaders.
They're on full push. I'm reading right now. There's live updates right now that I'm getting. And it's
New York Times is pumping out live updates.
They're pumping out live updates left and right.
BBC is pumping out live.
That's freaking bonkers, bro.
It's funny.
It's hilarious. It's hilarious, but I mean, they got a pretty sorry ass picture.
So
this guy on the internet, it's a pretty sad picture.
Yeah. Another thing I read was like they issued an arrest warrant for this chief. That ain't no arrest warrant. He's not going to be arrested.
Oh no,
he's either going to succeed or he's going to die.
Of course not. Why would he? Yeah, he's not going to arrest him. As a matter of fact, like I was telling you, I was giving you a little background on another possible why. I think it was like a week ago or so. It was revealed that he was actually revealing Russian military positions to the Ukrainians. I don't know if he was doing it for money or doing it for platitude, or was doing it just for whatever, just for kicks. But somebody crossed Mr. Prigozhin at some point. He's not known to be a military guy. The guy's origin story is not based on military stuff.
I don't know anything about it. The only thing I know is that he's the head of Wagner. That's it. I don't know if he was in the military in Russia or anywhere else.
Well, he's a Russian oligarch right now. He used to be a close confidant to Vladimir Putin. We've known all that. Yeah. But he has several companies. He's just an entrepreneur. That's what he's always been. But his background's not military at all. He's a businessman, always been.
Yeah, he has the largest mercenary group in Russia.
Well, that's because their ranks are filled with all their inmates. Did you know that? A lot of their infantry corps is based out of prison inmates that were released from the gulags. Oh wait, they don't have gulags in Russia, right?
I always thought they did. Is that not what they call them anymore? Is it like some PC word now?
I don't know, probably.
An internment camp?
Yeah, but
just a prison is what it is.
Yeah, but Prigozhin was already a pretty wealthy dude. So
yeah, Russia issues arrest warrant for Wagner chief on charges of mutiny. Mutiny? Wouldn't it be treason?
I don't know.
I thought mutiny was on ships. Oh.
Maybe he was on a ship. Yeah, but they're looking to oust Vladimir Putin and topple that government. That's what they're trying to do. I think they can pull it off.
Probably. I mean, they've been holding the lines in Ukraine. Well, as far as I understand, I don't know who's telling the truth and who's lying, but they've been holding the lines in Ukraine. They're very capable military force, and it's proven that the Russians don't have a capable military force if it weren't for Wagner. So now you got Wagner against Russia.
Mm-hmm.
At least they're military. So if they can defeat whatever the hell's defending Moscow, then yeah, they can get into the Kremlin. But the caveat to that is the helicopters are a dime a dozen, so you can get Putin out of there pretty quick. They might be able to take Moscow, but you're probably not going to get the head of the state.
Either way, I'm not entirely sure how that's going to shake up.
We'll see.
Into what end?
I mean, more than likely something like this. If they really go full tilt on this thing, this is going to be decided by Monday. Either Wagner Group's going to be wiped out and arrested, or Wagner Group is going to be in charge of Moscow, at least Moscow, by Monday. So.
Yeah, that's curious, man. But that's a crazy development, man. That's a crazy development. I'm trying to think of what would the whole thing look like if he does in fact take over, and I mean, what would that look like? Like
I don't know anything about the man.
Like the man is a capitalist. If the American government paid him, which is what I'm saying.
That's not outside the realms of possibility. We have no proof of that, but I mean,
I'm telling you,
ducks lining up.
I'm saying it. You can call me a conspiracy theorist. You can call me freaking whatever you call me, whatever you want. But
that's a likely scenario.
You can't tell me that after everything that's been revealed in the last 30 some odd days or 40 some odd days about the federal government, from the CIA's involvement in the JFK assassination, from the CIA and the federal government's involvement in 9/11, from all these freaking Alex Jones crazy freaking conspiracies that I've been saying the whole time to, that's like, that is bonkers, don't believe that guy, that guy's a fucking nut, and don't say that shit in public, you ain't fucking thrown in jail. That's like, that's fucking crazy, don't say that shit, and it's fucking true, a lot of it, a good portion of it. Now, granted, secretly in the back of my mind, I'm like, this is very possible.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not outside the realms of possibilities.
But it's just so crazy,
right?
That I just didn't want to fucking.
That's the thing about conspiracy theories, because it's nuts. It's absolutely batshit. It's like, that's fucking ridiculous. But it could be true.
I've treated people like that, though. Like, I've treated people that way. Like, I've had friends, veteran friends of mine, that have been like, oh, yeah, cheese slid off the cracker on that dude.
Right.
And I may have to fucking make some phone calls here fucking by the end of this week. I said, sorry, bro.
Yeah.
It's like, because there's a lot from the aliens. What? You fucking telling me that storybook monsters are fucking real? And they're flying around in fucking space?
And the government's known about it for fucking years.
Known about it forever. They've had bodies and all this other shit. Now, we speculated because of the jump in technology. But it was speculation. We were like, nah, somebody real smart just came up with some shit and broke the code on something.
Right.
So, but, dude, a lot of these declassification stuff that's happened in the last 40 some odd days or whatever, the last couple months, have proven a lot of these freaking conspiracies real. It's insane to not think about them paying the Wagner Group the difference of that money that they found, that $6.2 billion, because they already said it was going back into Ukraine. And I don't think there is anything that you could tell me that doesn't help Ukraine better than taking away the army that's attacking them away, and it's
turning them against
a reverse Uno card.
Yep.
They hit them with the reverse Uno. Boom.
Yep.
And
pay Wagner Group enough.
Pay Wagner Group enough. They'll turn around and go the other way. And that's exactly what they're doing. And why? As a matter of fact, I would not be surprised if after this whole thing goes down and if Wagner Group is successful, that they don't flat out, because either way we win. If Wagner Group gets decimated, Ukraine wins. Because what are the Russians going to attack?
Yeah, the only thing they got left is nukes.
They don't. They so okay. So I'll take it back. We may lose, but
that is if the Russian military can't handle the Ukrainians, and the Wagner Group can pretty much hold toe-to-toe with the Ukrainians. The Wagner Group can probably hand Russian troops their ass. Now, if you're defending the capital city, if you're defending Moscow itself, and you've got troops there that cannot stand up to a mercenary group like Wagner, the only weapon you've got is either like superior numbers and firepower usually wins the day over fucking skills and tactics. But if you don't have any of that crap, the last thing you've got that Wagner don't are nukes. Because from what I know about this, like you ain't even got the artillery to do anything about it. I think Wagner has more artillery. So you ain't got the artillery to push them back or hold them down. The only thing you got left is small yield nuclear weapons. And that's to take out Wagner without taking out your own city. Now, the thing is, though, Wagner can easily defeat those nuclear weapons if they can get into the city fast enough. And once they get into the city, I seriously doubt anybody that actually has access to those nuclear weapons is willing to destroy Moscow to stop Wagner.
I mean, we've given them the blueprint to
It's
it.
just a thought.
If they copy the battle plan for the invasion in Iraq in 03, which is predicated along the same consequence.
Speed, yeah.
Speed, topple the capital before they can push the buttons on chemical warfare. If they copy that, it could happen. But these guys, they need to put their phones away and get to work if they plan on doing that. Another thing is, I'm not sure. I mean, either way, the U.S. comes out on top. The Ukrainians come out on top. If they fail, then the war in the Ukraine is effectively over.
Right.
I'm not sure that benefits the military-industrial complex that much, but who knows what else they got in store.
And that's the thing. I don't think it's over.
I don't think it's over either.
I think if the Wagner group fails, I think Russia would redouble its efforts in Ukraine and start sending in more serious weapons.
I just need to.
If they have
I'm trying to think. Because I mean, a couple of them classified documents that came out too. Some were talking about the real scale of the Ukrainian war and how the Ukrainians were not, in fact, winning. But it's this is the ultimate reverse Uno card, and before the weekend is up, we'll know.
Yeah,
for sure, how this could shape. This could shape the world. For those that don't understand, Russia is also Russia is an enormous part of the world economy. It's an enormous part of the world period. It's an enormous part of world politics. I don't know. This is concerning. I have mixed feelings on it because part of me is kind of like, it's like,
yeah, just watching the show.
No, you fucked up, and it's like, I mean, because we all love a good train wreck, but this could have some serious global consequences.
Yeah.
And whoever played that Uno card, kudos to State Department, because I've delivered money for State Department, so kudos to them. Good job. I don't know where you fucking put all them $6 billion, but I don't know how many MI8s it would take, because you know they didn't transfer that electronically. But it's insane in an incredible coincidence how all of that kind of. Hey, look what this happened, and well, imagine that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. But I'll tell you, so far, shifting gears into some of the other topics, man, because that's the latest and the greatest.
Yeah.
Of course, we've been tracking the news on all the freaking shenanigans with Pride Month. It's been quite a train wreck.
It's getting worse.
It's getting worse and worse and worse and
Every
worse.
year it gets worse.
Yeah, there's demonstrations all over the United States.
I mean, Starbucks got in the hot water with the LGBT community for taking out their Pride Month stuff out of their stores.
Mm-hmm.
And Starbucks ain't no small company. It's pretty big. And it's well known. And it's on every street corner in the United States. It's everywhere. I think Target took out some of their stuff too. And they got in some hot water over that. The thing is, though, if it's hot water just from the LGBT community, how much hot water is it really? Because, I mean, that's like 1% of the population. You telling me 1% of the population makes up like more than half of your sales? Get out of here.
And I found the answer to that question. So forever we've been wondering, like, why. I'm talking about since the beginning of this podcast and probably before. I've been wondering, like why is it that such a small portion of the population, period, has such a loud voice and such a tight grip on the propaganda and the media and everything, and how everything is pushed forward, and how this is going. You know, why do they have such a big voice, and why does it matter? The reality is that there's these big companies out there that are investors into all these other companies, such as BlackRock and a couple other companies out there. Some of you guys may not understand who BlackRock is as a company, but they're an investment firm, right?
Wealth management.
The wealth management firm.
You can get the official thing just from their website, but right. they manage like trust funds and stuff. So
right. And through their management of trust funds,
investment management and financial services. Well,
they have invested mass amounts of money into owning a good portion of everything. A lot of companies out there, Anheuser-Busch among many, and as a consequence to that, they have been able to influence the propaganda. The advertisement schemes for some of these schemes for some of these companies as they advertise in the media by establishing what is known. I'm trying to find the ESG score.
What information are you looking for?
I am looking for, God damn it, not, well, the ESG, but they are this, the diversity, diversity, inclusivity, and equality. No, that spells die. So there's the equivalent. Try to find out from what I explained. There's this freaking rat's nest of freaking thoughts I got going on. So there are several scores out there. There's a diversity inclusivity score. There is an environmental impact score, or whatever the hell it's called. These companies that own so much of these other smaller companies out there have made these things where they have created, for all intents and purposes, a social credit score for these companies to operate based on their hiring practices. Meaning that they have turned, for the lack of a better word, for the layman and for everybody else, So
EDI is the acronym you're looking for. So it does spell die in a different...
I was...
EDI, equity, diversity, and inclusion.
So these scores, they are used to rate companies from worst to best, as far as their... I
just found something. Apparently it's more commonly used in business as DE and I.
You see, so it was die.
DEI, no.
Oh, no?
Yeah, DE and I.
Yeah.
So diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I mean, used interchangeably, and it just means, I don't know, what you were about to say.
Yeah. So it's, what was that thing that they did back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s to get more black people into the workforce? Affirmative hire? Affirmative action.
Yeah.
So it's picture it as affirmative action to 4.0 or 5.0. So this is kind of like affirmative action, but non-federal, because it's not mandated by the federal government whatsoever. Mm-hmm. At any point in time, it hasn't been voted in the House, it hasn't been voted in the Senate. It's got no legs whatsoever, legally or otherwise, other than if you were to violate anybody's rights, and that's already protected by the labor laws. Mm-hmm. So those scores are utilized to rate companies from worst to best, And what's happening is that these investment firms that got their tentacles on all these freaking companies, including Anheuser-Busch and some of these other companies, are forcing these scores upon those companies. So they're forcing them to advertise for these minorities, and they're getting money in return from these communities. So they're pushing these agendas on purpose to create a sub-competitive culture
Right.
amongst them. But in the end, they have the monopoly, so they own all of the companies. So no matter if
I'd like to put that into perspective for anybody listening. So it takes a bit of research to find out how powerful BlackRock really is and why they're that powerful. So BlackRock is an investment management firm. Right now, just looked it up, and this is available on their wiki thing. They have approximately $10 trillion worth of assets under management. So that's property, that's businesses, that's all of its worth, about $10 trillion. Here's putting that into perspective. The world GDP, the gross domestic product of the world, in other words, how much the planet is worth according to our currency, is $96 trillion. BlackRock owns more than 10% of the planet. BlackRock owns more than 10% of everything in this world. Literally. That's why the propaganda that you're talking about and that they're influencing is being done in the first place, and it's working, is because these guys own 10% of everything.
looking at that, having heard that, then you look at a guy like George Soros. George Soros, independently right now, it's worth about $7 billion.
That was worth more, but
he was. However, throughout his investments, at some point, so George Soros, at some point in his life, he decided to become like this philanthropist fucking dude and started donating money to all these causes. One of the causes that he donated, some of the causes that he donated, were to some of these companies that are actually doing all this stuff, and they created the actual breadbasket for these funds. He has donated in excess of $36 billion through his lifetime towards these causes. They secretly fund some chapters of Antifa, Black Lives Matter, some of these social
liberal activist organizations.
Liberal activist organizations are destructive to the very fabric of the United States and are to be considered by all intents and purposes a terrorist organization that poses a clear present danger to the sovereignty of the United States. That is without a fact, and anybody who wants to dispute that with me is more than welcome to stand in front of me and debate that with me. But with that said, that doesn't take away from what they're doing. They're just not being called out for it, and they're not being classified as such. So they have to be allowed to, and First Amendment being what it is, if you're just talking, you're just talking. You're more than free to express your views however you want to. But these guys are out there, and they've been funded. Some of them, not all of them. There's a lot of fringe Antifa chapters out there that just decided to put the flag on their backpack and go and chant for a cause. They're not necessarily funded by oligarchs or people that are in the know. They just have the same ideology, so it's easy to confuse the two. But some of the more funded ones, you can see them. They got full kits on. They got legit body armor, weapons in most cases. They have legit firearms. They just have none of the training. Right. And
well, that we know, because we don't know who's behind those masks.
No, I know. I've seen they don't have any of the training. It's just that they're trash. They're trash. But even a mildly trained Iraqi unit would freaking cut through them like a hot knife through butter. So it's not, I'm not too concerned about these people, but it's they will defend their views tooth and nail, which is a lot more than I can say for a lot of people on the right. They're willing to put weapons on people and point guns and do all this stuff, and even open fire and attack and assault. They're willing to do all the things that nobody else is willing to do, and yet they're not considered criminals or whatever. But I digress. George Soros has been funneling money to all these people, so he's one of many. But these equity scores, are what keeps companies from actually coming back from the brink. Their investors don't care because they're making money either way. Bud Light loses $20 million or $6.2 million or however many million dollars in income. It don't matter. They just doubled down on their last campaign. They were like, you know what, we tried to going back to the horses and the Patriots and all this other stuff, and they laughed at us again. And I was like, you know what, screw it. Let's just go full woke and continue on our path. So they continue to lose money. Some of the companies, if you look at why they're not participating in this kind of action and this kind of stuff, is because they don't belong to the tentacles of BlackRock. They're not being puppeted by that company. So it's there's a lot of things in the back that are moving. Unfortunately, what that creates in the long run is a hatred for people that carry that LGBT agenda, which could be as inoffensive as a person that is gay or trans that just wants to not be treated like a freaking weirdo. Right. Which is not wrong. And I think that we were already there. But this thing has kind of pushed it so far that it's ballooned into the same. We've had the same conversation not too long ago about black people, the things that are happening with black folks and all the nonsense that's been going on, and it's created a thing where people now, you know, they're back to locking the doors, you know, when minorities go by. It's having the opposite effect of what the intention was originally. Right. But the thing is that the people that have the true intention at their core are not being listened. Those people that have the real intentions, they would just look. They're trans. They want to coexist. They're not into all this other stuff. They just want to be. They just want to live like normal folks and have their friendships and live their lives and marry who they want to marry and raise kids if they can. You know, and all this other stuff. Now their ideology, not their ideology, but their identity has been overtaken by an ideology that's not necessarily in line with what they believe in. And the thing is that there are more than likely more gays and trans that are in that same vein that I just described in the latter. Right. But the latter is what pays and what sells. And it's getting to the point where governments are putting the LGBT pride flag at the same level as their national flag. Pride Day celebration at the White House, that trans woman got her tits out and they were twerking and do. The thing is that, so inherently I don't have a problem with people showing their tits or their ass in other venues. Right. It's just, the thing is that the respect for our nation and the respect for our laws and the respect for all those that suffered to get us to where we're at has waned significantly. And there's this old adage that they keep saying, and I keep hearing it over and over in memes and on Facebook and everything. You know, it's like hard times create hard men, you know, and, you know, blah, blah, blah creates soft men and soft men create hard times. But I think we're sitting at a point where that paradigm is about to break. Like, where hard times are just gonna breed more sissies. Because I'm not seeing it. But then again, I'm just one guy. I don't have bird's eye view of the planet. Right. So you can't see everything. Can't see everything. But from what I'm seeing, it's not necessarily the snapback on all this stuff and all this ideology and all this agenda is becoming I don't know. It's not taking the shape that I would like it to. I've had discussions with friends that are LGBT allies and whatever, and they defend this ideology so hard that they refuse at some points to listen to the opposing view at all. It's like I've posed this question. Somebody post online something about gay this and gay that. Why do I need to know? It's a basic question. Why do I need to know?
Yeah.
Explain to me what do I need to know that. Because the trans and the gun, they kill themselves and God, okay. Why do I need to know specifically? Because I don't mistreat anybody.
Right.
I've got trans friends. I've had gay friends. I've had lesbian friends. I have friends same-sex marriages that are friends, dear friends of mine that I would fucking die for. I have same-sex marriage friends that are raising children right now.
Yeah.
That I would put my life on the line for, if all they would have to do is ask.
The nice thing about social media,
And it was crazy is that likewise they would do that for me. But the thing is that would you believe it? That I have never had a conversation with that person about their same-sex marriage.
yeah,
Hey, this is my wife. Pleased to meet you. Let's go grab something to eat.
yeah,
Why make it awkward and weird? Why point it out like it's something weird?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you want to lean on the theocracy behind it, that's your prerogative and your thing, and you can just go that way with that. But I mean, the world changes and people change, and these are relationships that are normal nowadays. I don't know. What do I need to know so much about it? Like, what do I need to know?
there are a couple of steps to that. So one is the mass blast media of social media. So you're putting something out there. Anybody that has any connection to you or a connection through a connection to you is going to see it. Wasn't intended for you, but it was intended for either people who don't know that or people who are going to agree with that. And that's usually what social media is. It's just intended for people who would agree with it anyway. That's why, like, you see most of the things have like the liberal Twitter, the Republican Twitter, or the gay Twitter, or the black Twitter, or whatever, right? It's all separated into different demographics. That's because people post stuff. It's just meant for people in those demographics. People like living in echo chambers. They like hearing ideas that they agree with. They don't necessarily like hearing ideas that are contradictory to what they've already thought most of their lives. And the same thing about like relationships like that are normal nowadays. Yeah, nowadays. People that are older than us, like 60, 70 years old, they're not used to seeing homosexual couples because it is either extremely frowned upon or in some countries was illegal. So, I mean, there are some countries that just recently, like within the last 30 or 40 years, have lifted those homosexual, like, illegality laws.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
Some have gone incredibly the opposite direction.
Right. If we're talking about international, there are some countries that there's the death penalty for homosexuals.
That's bonkers.
Not in Western societies, not in like European societies or American society. Most societies, homosexuality is either legal or celebrated. In the United States and England, it's celebrated. In places like I can't think of too many.
Uganda,
I think it's a death penalty. I would have to look it up, and I really don't care to look it up. But yeah, there are some places in Africa and the Middle East where it's a death penalty. I think in Russia it's extremely frowned upon. Maybe the conduct is illegal. I don't know.
Hell, even being black in Russia is frowned upon. So it's just like we ain't got to go very far. But that's the thing. Like my thing is, so there are laws in place already that punish the discrimination. Okay, so that's done. Check.
But that law's in place to prevent discrimination in the workplace. Now, individual people, and that's the thing I think what a lot of people are really hinging on and really trying to do is to change the discrimination on individuals. So people who still think like homosexuality is a sin, homosexuality is morally wrong, homosexuality is whatever, they're trying to change those people's minds. You're not going to change their minds because that's their culture. That's how they grew up. That's what they believe.
And that's the thing.
You don't need them.
But that's what I'm getting at. Like, why?
Yeah.
Like, what do you? Why?
Yeah. Why would you want them to change their opinion? Who cares?
Who cares?
Yeah. That believe homosexuality is morally wrong.
We're not out there.
But the majority of the United States, I'm just going to talk about the United States. I really don't give a shit about any other country. I really don't give a shit about most of the United States. I just care about Texas.
Right.
But I mean, the majority of the United States, they don't give a shit if you're gay. They don't care. Live your life. Don't bother me. Go do what you want to do.
Even here in Texas.
Yeah, in most of Texas is like that.
Most of Texas.
You'll find friendly folks, even if they are discriminatory. Like they don't want to be around you, but they're not going to hurt you.
Don't say shit about it. Just keep that shit to yourself.
There's still places in Texas, like rural, out of the way places that are very racist. They don't like black people in their area.
Yeah, no,
they're not going to hurt you.
Been there.
They're not gonna do anything to you. They just don't want you there, and that's it. They just don't want you there.
Yeah.
They're not gonna like shoo you out of town or anything like that. So they just don't want you there. It's just their opinion.
So my thing is that what
still exists.
But why try to change those people's mind when they don't matter?
Right.
It's I think the thing is that in California has freaking done a horrible job at this, but they're consumed with liberal politics over there, and it's something out of this world. But in the end, they've doubled down and tripled down on this stuff, and it's created a lot of friction. If anything, this liberal LGBTQ plus IA, whatever the hell they want to call themselves, ideology / propagandist movement has put more of their kind in danger than anything by being so oppressive in nature.
Maybe.
It's now I'd have to see. I would have to see the numbers on it. Like, I mean, how many? Because they keep saying the same thing. Like, there's a genocide and there's this and there's that. I am yet to see one case. They're saying they're being exterminated, they're being killed, they're being assaulted, they're being... I was like, the last crazy gay person that got beat up allegedly was freaking Juicy in Chicago, where he went to get them daggone sandwiches and freaking...
It was a MAGA country, boy.
Yeah.
Come on.
I mean, it's just...
Homophobic racists in the middle of Chicago wearing MAGA hats at 2 o'clock in the morning when it was like negative 10 degrees.
While carrying bleach and nooses.
Come on.
Or nooses? Nooses?
Nooses. That makes more sense.
Better than nooses.
Tied ropes.
Ropes.
Yes. Was that part of it that they? Like,
yeah, they put a noose around his neck. That's how he showed up to the police with a sandwich and noose. You fucking didn't even take a sandwich.
Was this a slip knot or was it an actual hangman's knot?
I don't know. It probably some like what his mind says
be.
that a noose is. Like he didn't know how to tie one, so they're just like.
Yeah, there aren't many people that know how to tie one of those anymore.
No.
I think there are some states where actual hangman's knot is illegal to possess. I think so.
I mean, what other purposes are?
Yeah.
It's just kind of like you're not hoisting engines with that thing.
Well, that knot has one purpose.
Yeah, you're not hoisting engines with that thing. So I mean, I don't know what to say. It's just kind of people. I don't know. They've taken that thing way too far. And then of course Juneteenth was this last Monday, and black people celebrated in the best way possible by killing other black people in record numbers, which is what the holiday demands, is blood. So they sacrificed other brethren to the cause. Blood sacrifices all around. And yeah, in one of the most gun strict states in the freaking world, but 75 people or plus were freaking Chicago. Yeah, it's in goddamn Illinois.
That's the thing about Juneteenth. Like, I grew up in Texas.
Yeah, tell me a story about Juneteenth, man.
Juneteenth has always been celebrated in the South. I grew up, we would go to Juneteenth barbecues, go to Juneteenth celebrations in the parks. They're open for everybody. It wasn't like, oh, this is a black holiday. No, it was open for everybody.
It is now. How dare you, Whitey? Right.
But I mean, it was open for everybody. We'd go to the parks, barbecue, food, games. I mean, I was a little kid, so everybody from the neighborhoods, everybody from school would go out there. We'd have the day off. If it happened on a weekday, and we'd have the day out of school, and we'd go out to the parks and everything. And there was the Juneteenth celebrations. Well, Juneteenth is when the slaves in the South got the word that they were free. Now, they had already been free like a month prior, or maybe more prior. But that's when the news got to the South. That's why Juneteenth is celebrated. It's the 19th of June.
It took so long because they were black, so they didn't want to tell them, right?
It could be any number of things. Sure, that's a likely scenario. But, I mean, Like they wanted to keep them slaves. They just wanted to tell them that, like they had crops to bring in and stuff like that. Those are all things that have been said. Who knows? News didn't travel very quickly back then, so I mean it could have just taken a month to get down here, but
Took a month.
who knows? I don't know. I'm not a historian. I'm not a historian for that part of history. I'm not a historian at all, really. But I mean, I've never really studied that part of history, so I could be completely wrong on that.
Well,
But there are a whole bunch of stories about it, and yeah, Juneteenth. The whole point of the celebration, at least when I was growing up, was that's when the slaves in the South actually got the news that they were free, and that's why they celebrate Juneteenth. And when I was growing up, it was a celebration, like neighborhood. They would do block parties. They would do celebrations in the park, barbecues. Like I said, games, bouncy houses, shit like that. And that's what it was. It was a celebration of the end of slavery in the South.
interesting.
Now it is a national holiday that
It's federal.
apparently, like, I didn't know people didn't celebrate Juneteenth. Like, I didn't know people up north, like New York, had no idea what Juneteenth was. So how the hell do you not know?
Oh,
I didn't know that until they made it a federal holiday. I was like, yeah, now Juneteenth is a federal holiday. It's like people didn't celebrate that shit.
oh shoot. Like I just Googled Juneteenth and a whole banner with animation and black hands and stuff like that came across. Like and confetti and all this stuff. So I'm like, damn.
Yeah, mine too. Well, they have a flag.
They always have a flag.
Why does everything get a flag?
Because it's an ideology. Remember? I told you? Al Qaeda, ISIS, you know.
It almost looks like the Aboriginal flag.
Of course it would be something freaking borrowed from a culture that hasn't been theirs in forever.
Okay, it's not the Aboriginal flag, but I mean...
It's pretty close. So it's, I don't know.
Most black folks, just like anybody else,
NYPD
just
tracking
working,
system
doing
showing
their own
508 shooting victims this year to date, compared to 680 by this time of year. 20% of all shootings tend to be fatal. Let's see. It won't tell me the numbers. It refuses to tell me the numbers. I'm looking at this damn website trying to find out what the numbers. Okay, the deadliest day and blah, 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 blah. How many people got shot? I won't tell you.
Because the answer to that's racist. Here's the Wikipedia's definition of Juneteenth. Federal holiday in the United States commemorating the emancipation of the enslaved African Americans, deriving its name from combining June and 19th. Duh. It is celebrated on the anniversary of the order by Major General Gordon Granger proclaiming freedom for enslaved people in Texas on June 19th, 1865. In Chicago. 6
killed, dozens injured in weekends shootings across the United States. Juneteenth celebration left 23 shot, 1 fatal in Illinois. 12 dead throughout the country. Juneteenth celebrations. 22 hurt in Willowbrook. 1 dead. 75 people shot. 13 fatalities across Chicago. And 51 separate incidents from 6 p.m. on Friday and 11 p.m. on Monday. So, this is the weekend. This is the 4-day weekend. How many people we lose a day in Iraq? You gather.
Not that many.
Because
I mean, the total casualties from Iraq, the entire war was something like, what?
$4 grand or something.
Yeah,
like that, right?
It was less than
So
10,000.
I remember when my unit was down in Iraq. We were losing about 2 paratroopers a day due to enemy action, but I think 1 out of there were WIAs. Like we'd lose them because they're injured.
Right, they didn't die.
They didn't die, but we were losing about 2 a day for a hot minute there. I'd have to talk to my friend John to get the real stat on that, or about as close to the real stat, because he was working a little closer to that.
Right.
But for a minute there, for a stretch, we were losing about 2 paratroopers a day. They're all combat related injuries, but this is insanity. But I mean, that's how they choose to celebrate, man. It's just like whatever, they can't keep it together for one 4-day weekend. You know, it's just crazy. People got to stand up. People got to stand up and fight against this nonsense. You know, you got some bad actors in your neighborhood. You got to work. You got to work with other people, with law enforcement, do something. Do whatever you got to do to get rid of them people. Because all them freaking assholes are just freaking...
I hope that happens. I doubt it will.
It'll never happen. No snitching.
Don't work with police. Don't tell them shit.
Yep. Just we don't want to work with police. Crazy. But the submarine got more news than all the people that died on Juneteenth.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot more coverage in a very short amount of time. Yeah.
Yeah, because those were millionaires.
Billionaires even.
Billionaires. They matter more than father of a freaking 7-year-old girl.
Yeah.
You know. They weren't even celebrating Juneteenth, just happened to be wrong place, wrong time. Yeah. So we're back from the break. So I want to try something new. I mean, new to us. I don't know if anybody else has done it out there. I haven't really paid attention to what other podcasters are doing.
Yeah.
But
Gonna make up our own crap as we go along.
But one thing so we talk about politics and we talk about small elections and we talk about this and that and we tell you whether they're important or whether they're not and whatever. So for this segment, we're gonna focus on just flat out dumb politicians that are still making decisions or trying to make decisions for you and me at the Congress or House level to this day. So we're gonna hit one on every episode because there's so many of them, and we wanted to, for right now, avoid the low hanging fruit like the obvious idiots like AOC. We all know she's dumb as dog.
And the president of the United
States. You know, God save the Queen, that dumbass. Yeah. And Kathleen Kamala, you know, it's all been done. So what I wanted to do is for this week, we're gonna hit a special person.
He is special.
Special person. And
he has been in office since 2007.
Been in office since 2007.
He is a lawyer.
Mm-hmm. Give us the bio on him. Give me the bio on him. Yeah, give me the bio on him since you're already on him and I'm still kind of typing away. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm still trying to find the bio.
Henry Calvin Johnson Jr., American lawyer and politician, U.S. representative for Georgia's 4th Congressional District since 2007. He is a member of the Democratic Party, married to Meredith Johnson, educated at Clark College and then Thurgood Marshall School of Law. And that's his Congress page. Hank Johnson,
born in 54.
Yeah.
He's fairly young, 68, 60-some years old. But this is why he's dumb.
This is a island that at its widest level is 12 miles from shore to shore, and at its smallest level or smallest location it's 7 miles between one shore and the other. Is that correct?
I don't have the exact dimensions, but to your point, sir, I think Guam is a small island.
Very small island, and about 24 miles.
At least that would be an excuse.
Long. So
this is a weed talk.
24 miles long,
like
about
by the beach.
7 miles wide.
In the dark.
The least widest place on the island, and about 12 miles wide on the widest part of the island.
What the fuck are you saying, man? Like, get to it. What the fuck are you saying?
They're talking about the island of Guam.
Right. All of this. So 1 minute,
right.
It is fucking deranged weed.
Yeah.
Fucking.
How big this island is.
How big is this island? All right. So.
It's Guam.
It's fucking Guam. All right, go.
Island. And I don't know how many square miles that is. Do you happen to know?
Who gives a shit?
Figure with me, sir. I can certainly supply it to you if you'd like.
Yeah, my fear is that the whole island will become so overly populated that it will tip over and capsize.
We don't anticipate that.
How do you keep a
Guam
straight
population,
face?
I think currently about
How do you keep how do you answer that question like a normal, instead of just looking at him like, what the fuck did you just say? What do you think islands are?
Oh man, dude. So if you're from Georgia and you voted for this freaking pile of dog shit, before he made this statement, then that guy, I mean, this shame on him. You know what I mean? That's not on you. But this man is still in politics to this day. He's still winning races. He's still in Congress. He's still out there shuffling around in his drug-addled brain or whatever the hell is going on. Because you gotta be high as a kite to freaking think that this is how islands. I mean, dude, come on. All right, let's go.
175,000, and again with 8,000 Marines and their families, it's an addition of about 25,000 more into the population.
The whole island will become so overly populated that it will tip over and capsize.
We don't anticipate that.
Oh man,
this
dude.
bill, which shows that this Tea Party Congress.
Oh, he's got more.
Does he? That was the biggest one. The Guam thing.
He's got there's another one. It's a Hank Johnson. No balloons. Imagine a world without balloons.
The Guam thing. That conversation that he had in Congress happened in 2010 at the House Armed Services Committee.
Yes.
Because they were talking about the Marines that were on Guam.
Right.
That's what they were specifically talking about, was the 8,000 Marines and their dependents that are on Guam.
They were gonna capsize the island.
I know Guamanians are typically big, but they ain't that goddamn big.
Bro.
The fucking island. What, you can't look that man down in the face and say, what in the fuck is an island to you? Is this a floaty thing? It's not a boat, motherfucker.
If a school eraser were to fly across the freaking room and hit him in the face and he let it puff a chalk, like poof, it wouldn't surprise me, man. You know what I mean? Like,
What the hell are you thinking?
what the fuck you talking about, man?
How did that come out of your mouth?
Like, dude, this guy's serious, dead ass, man.
Yeah, he's dead serious.
Dude, this is all. So for you guys that don't, I saw this for the first time back in 2010, and dude, this has been floating around on my views since 2010 and all the way up to now, where it's now blah, up to you. Now, this freaking guy, this fucking halfway, how did he get dressed in the morning? If his house,
Right.
I'm telling you, his house has to have walls. Because otherwise they'd have lost him in the woods a long time ago. He just wandered the fuck off into God knows where. You know, but this dude, he is looking for, like, say for instance, he calls for the SCOTUS, the Secretary,
SCOTUS, Supreme
the
Court of the
SCOTUS,
United
Supreme
States.
Court of the United States, an expansion to the Supreme Court from 9 to 13.
Most Democrats
you know,
call for the expansion. Especially when a Democrat's in office. Just load the Supreme Court with Democrats.
wants to also he is on board also with some kind of ethics board against SCOTUS's. Back in 2023, he secured priorities for FAA reauthorization, TNI marathon markup. He introduced a bill along with Senator Ossoff of Georgia as well to a bill to boost the efforts of decarbonize aviation. Votes to avert economic crisis by a Republican default. So this was just the other month, just the beginning of this month.
The main population center this guy serves is Atlanta.
So
And he's a buffoon.
he is a buffoon. I got his voting record here. If you guys want to take a look at it, hankjohnson.house.gov. You'll be able to catch his recent votes on all his House resolution bills. But it has a hyperlink on it, so you can actually click on the actual bill and see what it all entails and what he voted against and what he voted for. The ones that he has co-sponsored, the ones that he has sponsored himself, all of it's on there. But you got the whole point behind the thing is that a person that thinks that islands can capsize is in the government, making decisions for you and me. Casting votes and helping to forward whatever agenda this government is trying to.
I found a couple more things about him. Apparently he was elected either minority whip or majority whip at some point. And really all that means to the layperson is this guy organizes other congressmen to vote a certain way. Mm-hmm. That's what whips do. He was also voted by one of the DC newspapers as probably the most clueless congressman by staffers. By congressional staffers. So even the people who work for him think he's a moron.
A moron.
But this guy wins elections.
A moron. He's winning elections, man. So, and that's part of our problems as American, man.
Where's his election record? So
many people think that it's a pie in the sky to freaking be a congressman. But if you live in Georgia's 4th district, which covers the jurisdiction of Atlanta, there are plenty of people in Atlanta that are far smarter than this freaking useless bag of dog shit that's sitting here freaking vote. I don't care if, you know what, it don't even matter if you're Republican or Democrat, it don't matter. You should have somebody representing your district that at the very least knows that islands don't capsize because of population.
Yeah. See, his first election, he actually won against he actually had a real race and won. In 08, unopposed. Mm-hmm. 09, won against the Republican nominee, Liz. 2012, uncontested. 2014, uncontested. 2016, won against a Republican. 2018, won against a Republican. 2020, won. 2022, won. So he wins elections over and over again. And he was elected regional whip in 08. But as for the 8th region, which that gets in all congressional organization crap, which not a lot of people even give a shit about. So
Right.
It's Georgia, Florida, Mississippi, and Alabama, and the Virgin Islands. But
right.
Yeah.
But for this week's freaking, what are we gonna name this segment, man?
I don't know. We can come up with a name and then put it on here in front of us talking about
balloons. Government balloons.
Government buffoons.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know.
What are we gonna name it?
Elected Idiocracy.
Elected Idiocracy. Mm-hmm. So, for those people in Atlanta, the 4th district, that voted for this man, are you guys idiots?
Got evidence that says, yeah.
Just saying, when you vote blue no matter who, or red until you're dead, or whatever the hell the slogan is, but I'll pay attention to who the hell's on the ticket, this is what you get. You get dudes that don't know that they're asking Admiral our island's gonna capsize. You fucking moron.
Yeah.
This this fucking naval expert has to sit here and go and just muster all of the military bearing that he has.
That's the thing. I mean, kudos to the guy for maintaining, but me or anybody I know, if we were sitting in that same seat, I don't think we could. No fucking way.
No way.
No fucking way. Oh, yeah, that's gonna catch that. Are you fucking? What'd you just say? Into the mic and everything. What? Yeah. Yeah. What the hell did you just? Did you just say that I was gonna Guam is gonna capsize? Fuck off.
Yeah. It is pure insanity. I mean,
And he has more apparently.
well, I'm looking at another one there. Imagine a world without balloons. I can't wait to see what that's about. I've never
heard of it.
I've never seen that video. I don't want to play it because then it's going to be freaking. It could be a waste of time.
Right.
And I'd like to screen it before I hit play because God knows. But
I think everybody's seen the Guam one. I've seen
the Guam one is just like, whew, that's top notch right there. Mwah, super idiocy. I mean,
I wonder what that admiral was saying after that meeting when the recording
you know,
was
he gave
happening.
me. It's like, bro, fuck. I was like, bro. I was like, oh, how was Senate Arts Committee?
You wouldn't believe this shit.
I was like, bro, you wouldn't believe what this fucking guy asked me. I was like, dude, no, fuck that. We're gonna go to the O Club. I'll fucking tell you all about it. Dude. You fucking sit there. I was like, give me fucking 2 shots of Jack. Fucking get neat. Let's go. This fucking retard, and just go into it. This is fucking crazy. This guy. I mean, so we all have idiot things that we've thought about.
Of course.
That are incredibly idiotic. Like, I remember one day wondering, as I'm watching this movie, I'm watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I remember wondering where did this massacre take place? Now, I didn't vocalize it. Fuck, Texas in the title of the movie. Fuck, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I'm like, I wonder where this thing happened. Like, it's just, I didn't say shit to anybody, but it took me a second, and I was like, oh, what a fucking idiot. I didn't say it out loud, but...
You want to know the truth?
Well, I mean, Texas Chainsaw Massacre is supposed to be in Texas, right?
The movie, sure.
Yeah,
what it's based on happened in Wisconsin.
Yeah, but I mean, I didn't know the technicalities. It's just
Right.
pre-internet stuff, you know?
Texas Chainsaw Massacre is based on Ed Gein. Ed Gein did his shit in Wisconsin.
Well...
There's actually a lot of movies based on Ed Gein's shit, because he was the one that took people's skins off.
Well, yeah, the Hills Have Eyes and all that other shit.
No, Hills Have Eyes is actually based on something else. Something
That's
happened in
West
Scotland.
Virginia or some bullshit.
Scotland.
Yeah.
Oh. That's an old story from Scotland, like in the 1200s or some
Well, the
shit.
Mothman Prophecies or some bullshit.
Well, I don't know what the Mothman prophecies are based on.
I don't know, some fucking bird fucking thing, dude.
Yeah, something in like
that
Virginia, West
fucking
Virginia.
chases people.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know,
But yeah.
whatever. But this fucking guy's a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
There's a unfucking believable, man. But
He's in office, remains in office, keeps getting elected over and over and over again. Keeps having opponents that try to take the seat from him, but nope.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's something else, man. Like I'll never understand why like why on earth this guy.
Wikipedia has like a reason why he talks like that.
Because he's a fucking moron.
Listen to this. In December 2009, and this is on Wikipedia, you can find it for yourself, just go down to the personal life section. In December 2009, Johnson revealed that he had been battling hepatitis C for over a decade, which resulted in slow speech and a tendency to regularly get lost in thought in the middle of a discussion. He said he learned he had the disease in 1998, but did not know how he contracted it. Fucking random. Yeah. HCV-induced liver dysfunction often leads to hepatic encephal... whatever.
Hey, he's a syphilitic moron.
Cause of confusion. Symptoms are often reversible with treatment. The disease damaged his liver and led to thyroid problems. He was treated a combination of a bunch of crap at Walter Reed Medical Center. In February 2010, Johnson successfully completed an experimental treatment for hepatitis C, which resulted in restored mental acuity, weight gain, and increased energy. So this has a reason why he talked like a fucking idiot in 2010, because he has hep C.
He's a syphilitic moron.
And he's a Buddhist? What?
Of course he is. I mean, fuck. Of course. No, why not? Put a cherry on top. Then fucking, hey, you want some whipped cream with your fucking stupid? Now this is like, I'm fucking, bing. Let's go. Let's fucking go. You're gonna fucking go full.
Right under it.
He makes Sergeant Osiris fucking proud. He's like, they never go full retard.
See also list of African American United States representatives, list of Buddhist members of the United States Congress. He's Buddhist? What?
But of course he is. Yeah, I mean, did you expect anything else?
Yeah,
I mean,
I did.
yeah. Unfreaking man. This freaking guy. So, don't forget to like, subscribe, share the content.
So this is an ever-evolving channel, so we've got different things that we discuss in different ways and different formats. And
Yeah, like,
we're always
subscribe.
trying new stuff, see what works, see what sticks. So,
Like,
input, produce your input.
yeah, like us, subscribe, and share the content. Let us know how we're doing. Hit us up. We'll let you know when we put out some new stuff out there. Excuse me. Hopefully this week we'll end up launching a series of shorter videos. This one's fairly long, but they'll all link back to this one. But it's